It's Monday, March 9th, 2020. 20,020? 2020? Oof. It's March 9th, 2020. Just found out via wonderful Facebook and looking for something else and happened to stumble across this. And I just found out that my mom died December 23rd, 2019. Now, I gotta be honest, I really don't know how I feel about it. But the first thing that hits me and that really bothers me is that my dad died on December 23rd, 1985. And the fact that this bitch fucking died on the same day my dad died really pisses me off. Really pisses me off. So, nevertheless, I mean, I can summarize things very quickly. The childhood and things. I was born in 1975. My parents were divorced when I was 5 years old. My father died when I was 11 years old. From the time I was 5, I saw my dad on summers and periodically. Um, um, and then he died in December 23rd, 1985. Obviously, the entire time I stayed with my mom was grotesquely obese. She was grotesquely obese. My mom was grotesquely obese. Pretty much what I tell people is if you've seen the movie What's Eating Gilbert Grape, that's my mom, except that mom was actually cool and stood up for her family and things, where mine didn't. She was just a fucking big fat fuck and just didn't do anything and was abusive and everything, to me at least. Not to my sister. So, yeah, so from, birth till 16, verbally abusive, physically abusive. Verbally abusive in the sense of just telling me I'm not going to amount to much if I don't go to school, go to college, I'm not going to do anything. I wanted to be a musician. My father was a musician. I wanted to be a business owner. My father was a business owner. So everything that I wanted to do, because the only thing I knew is what my dad had done, she hated because I reminded her so much of my dad. So what do? You take it out on your kid. So what does she do? Okay, so like I said, the verbal abuse was, you're a piece of shit. You're not going to amount to this. Amount to anything. Don't think you're going to do anything with music. I mean, as much as I just wanted to just play music on, just because, she just pissed on every fucking idea of it. And even when I got my first band, she refused to come to any show or anything, at least once. So physically abusive. So she would get mad, of course, and she was fat and she couldn't move a lot. She couldn't get around. So what she would do is she would just throw things, or, if I was close enough, hit me with whatever she could. So the biggest things, we had a encyclopedia set, because that's what you had back in the fucking 80s. We had the encyclopedia set, so it would be like the A through K. She would fucking zing that motherfucker, which amazingly that she had the arm strength to even lift it, but she would grab that thing and zing that thing and usually nail me in the back, because at that point I was probably most likely running away or trying to get away because I knew what was coming. Like those old school bike chains. I don't mean like the chain on the bike, but I mean like that you lock them up with. That it was a chain, it had the plastic around it, and then had the little spin things, you know, the lock combination things. Yeah, we had one of those, and I got hit with that a few times just because that was what was there. And she would just swing that, and you know, I usually get it like in the back because I would, you know, I was fast enough I could duck, but you know, nevertheless, I don't know. So it was like not cell phones, but like cordless phones. You know, those would get launched at you. It was pretty much whatever she can put her hands on. She would just get mad and just throw shit at you. And you know, we'd be arguing, but I wasn't throwing shit. So I get hit with shit, and because there's no way she was catching me to like spank me or anything. But I couldn't take it anymore, and I hit 16 and dropped out of high school and stayed on the couch of my buddies. My buddy lived with his dad, and I used to hang out over there and told him, you know, obviously my buddy told his dad what was going on, and he was cool, and he said I could stay there, and I stayed there on the couch. And it was in Richmond Park Apartments in Richmond Heights, and in Richmond Park Apartments there was a restaurant. I can't remember the name of the restaurant, but I can't remember the name of it, but it was a restaurant, and I got a job there when I was 16, being a dishwasher. Well, it really wasn't like a busser. I just sat in the back and washed dishes. So I would do that all day. I would wash dishes, and you know, hang out at this dude's apartment with his dad. And then I started bouncing around apartments and things. And you know, when I turned 18, it turned out my dad had left me an inheritance of $50,000. So I got an inheritance when I turned 18. So I only really had a couple years of that, you know, couch surfing sort of deal because I didn't have an apartment, and I definitely wasn't going back home. So you know, then I was able to get an apartment and things like that, and you know, had a steady girlfriend and blah 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 blah. Blah. But and I have some other stories, horrible fucking mom stories, about specific situations and stuff. I'm permanently scarred from some. So yeah, I just figured I'd record this because I just literally found out today that the bitch is dead. I always used to say when I found out she's dead, I'd find her grave and go piss on her grave, but it turns out they're having trouble finding money to get her cremated, so who knows if she's even cremated. I don't know what happens. My sister posted something on GoFundMe about getting $1,000 together to have her cremated, which is pretty fucked up, and because this fucking motherfucker sold my grandmother's house, which was worth probably about $170,000 to $200,000 at the time, only about a year or so after my grandma died, the year or two after they had sold their house. So quite frankly, they should have had a few bucks put away, but I know these people, and they don't like to work, and they like to just leech. They're like leeches. They're like locusts. You know, they just suck every fucking natural resource dry. My sister and my mother were the fucking, well, my mother was, she's gone now. We're just absolute leeches on society and things. So definitely no big loss to society. You know, we're not losing some great caregiver or fucking, you know, some amazing hard worker or some great contributor back to society. No, she was abusive and wrote me off about 12 years ago after my grandma died. And I'll tell that story sometime if anybody gives a fuck, because it's pretty fucking hardcore to hear how bad a mom can treat her firstborn son, which is, it's every time I've told the story, just people's fucking heads just lower in disgust. But whatever, man. You know, my dad was a great dude from what I gather. He was a, you know, musician and a business owner, and he contributed and he worked hard his whole life. And, you know, who knows? I hate filming in portrait, but the only way to like do this is to film in portrait, which means I gotta post in portrait. Who cares? Who gives a fuck, right? It's just life. Ding dong, the bitch is dead.